Merry Christmas, everyone! Just kidding. The reason I'm making this video now is because I'm thinking to myself, if I want to make a Christmas stocking for my future daughter-in-law, I think that's the request, I'm going to have to get cracking. So I thought, well, time to maybe get in the mood, do a little video on the Christmas stockings that are in our sort of tradition, and some pattern ideas, and also solicit some suggestions from you about a good pattern to try. This stocking was knit by my aunt. My aunt was very talented at knitting, and I have been trying to figure out, I think this is intarsia, so I see a kind of a seam here, and I think it's apparent that she knit this flat and used an intarsia technique, and somewhere I have the pattern. I'm just so impressed. She could just whip these out. When my kids came along, I was like, oh, you need to knit my baby a stocking, and she did, and it's just beautifully done. And then, you know, people don't live forever. She passed on, and so only my firstborn got the traditional Christmas stocking that looks, it's the same pattern as the one that she made for me and my brother and sister. So at some point I'm going to try, I have never done intarsia. I would love to know your experience with it. I'm convinced that that's what's going on here. I know the concept. I don't know if you can tell anything from the back, but to me it looks very much like that's what's going on. Here's some more seam work that she did. So I just haven't experimented yet with this way of knitting items. So I need to change that. Now, when my twins were born, then at that point I was not a knitter. And so a friend of mine from church crocheted stockings for them. She was very kind. She was like, oh, your babies need stockings too. And I was like, that's great, because I don't knit, I just needlepoint. I just do Kenneth thread cross stitch. Theoretically, you could needlepoint a stocking too. But then, guess what? You've seen, some of you, the video where I showed you how my son got me into knitting because he took it in fashion class. He hasn't knit anything since, but I'm still hopeful that we can change this. So I learned how to knit, and I knit these sort of color work, knit in the round stockings. So this one's for my daughter, and it's huge. It comes with, I'm going to call it Aran weight yarn, and it's just so traditional. I love it. So this is a kit that I got from the shop in Groton, which is a long-standing, very small, very rural, tiny, small town yarn store that we meet at for our fiber gold. So this is the version for my son. I tried to, you know, have some differences. I can show them to you together. They both have birds. They both have some little Puri type work in there, some sort of Christmas ornamenty type stuff, and they're both really, really big. So I feel duty bound when I try to fill these stockings to get lots and lots of stuff to put in them, because yeah, they're kind of a heavy yarn. Now this was a kit, and I have the pattern, and I might actually use the pattern. It's called Christmas Classics from Candy Wool Yarns. I'm gonna guess that these are still available. Let's see here. We have the entire alphabet with instructions for how to knit all the letters of the alphabet, and detailed instructions to make these with a kind of a heavyweight wool. So you can tell I've got two separate kits here that match two separate stockings. And of course, the nice thing about this sort of pattern is that, you know, I could take these proportions and I could just change up the pattern. So I could find any kind of motif and play with it. And I can also use a lighter weight yarn. I don't have to use such big yarn. Not that the twins are, you know, sad that their stockings hold lots and lots of goodies. But I've been trying to look for a pattern that I would enjoy. This is a kind of a traditional pattern. I don't know where I got this. It's been several years since I got it. It was before I got these kits. And I thought, well, it's a starting point. And again, it's got charts for, you know, your letters and numbers. And it has the motifs. I think it must be knit cuff down. Does that make sense? Yeah, because everything's upside down. Like, you know, the little kids on there upside down, and the Santa. So this is an option. I have not yet used it. It does require worsted weight yarn. I would have to do a swatch to see if I want to make them. This huge enormous. And then I got this book, Knit Christmas Stockings, and I was struggling to find anything. This is 19 patterns for ornaments, or stockings and ornaments. And it's got a variety, but I don't know. None of these really thrilled me. Now my son told me, oh, he wants the textured ones, or he really wants the cabled one, which is a good idea. I'm not an expert at cables. I have done one project with cables, so I know how to do it, and I think I could learn it. The question is, could I get it done by Christmas? Answer is, not too sure. So, excuse me. Here's one with cats, though. Actually, that could be fun. It says pampered pets. I think those are cats. I don't know. It might be a mouse. It could be a mouse. Are mice pampered pets? So it's got some options. This is a little bit more traditional right here with the kind of elves. Are those wreaths? I think that's wreaths in the middle there, and the little Christmas trees. So part of my point here is to solicit advice. Now, Ravelry, I'm sure, would be kind of a treasure trove. So I should probably go in there and see if there's a pattern that I could pick up that would be an alternative. But this one is, you know, this traditional Christmas stocking one that I used is it's pretty good. I think if I did this with a DK yarn, then you know, I could probably find some motifs that I could borrow from other sources, maybe even this source with the candy canes here and the Santa hat. I could probably easily figure out what the stitches are to make the little Santa head. And I do have some fuzzy yarn. So I may have what I need, but gosh, you know, if you have any suggestions, any patterns that you've used for stockings in the past that turned out really the way that you wanted them, and they just scream Christmas at you when you see them, and tradition and all that stuff, let me know. I would really appreciate the advice, and we'll see what comes of this if I actually can make this happen. I think I should. So feel free to encourage me as well. Y'all take care. Bye.